Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, that was a good one.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Wins and Lessons Friday. And I got to give a big shout out to DJ for creating that name, Wins and Lessons, because originally it was Wins and Losses, and that was just had a negative context to it. And then he came up with the Wins and Lessons. So big shout out to DJ for that.
Yes,
But
sir.
today, Jeff, we're going to talk a little bit about resting. And I think that
Yeah.
conversation we had at the beginning would be a good way to kick this off a little bit. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Good morning, Daman.
Good morning.
So Jeff and I were just talking off air because Ryan's been off all week. He's been sick. And we were talking about resting. And I remember back a couple of months ago, Jeff said to me, he says, Dan, you know what? Like you're going through your treatment, you're going through recovery. Just let us handle the show for a bit and just rest. And it was probably the best thing I could have done in order to recover. And then Jeff, you just said something off air that was pretty powerful because it was, we know we need to rest, but we've got so much to do or we want to accomplish so much that we feel we can't rest. But yet when you rest the body, everything else comes into play because you have the energy, you have the stamina, you have the go, you have the giddy up to accomplish tasks that if you're exhausted, your brain's not working properly, you're probably making the wrong decisions and all this kind of stuff. And for Ryan taking the week off this week, I think it was the best thing he could have done. Even if he was, somewhat ready to come back today, it's like you have today, then you have the weekend and, you really recover and come back, like you said, come back 100%. Now,
Really?
I'm still not 100%, but I feel like I'm giving enough energy and vibes to the community that it's time to come back. But it was one of those things where, that the body is telling you something. And in business, I think especially at this time of year, because everyone's been quote unquote hustling for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and maybe it's a theme this week because we talked about it with Andrea yesterday, right? That rest, that recuperation, that relaxing. And so I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. And then I want to hear about your wins this week.
Yeah. One thing that comes to mind, and let's go back to the corporate world, right? So we're sitting at our office and we feel like crap. And we were so afraid to ask for a sick day. We know that we had them available, but we always thought, oh, they're going to use it against me. They're going to use it against me. I'm not showing up for work and everything. Now that we have our own business and that we have that ability to take that much needed time when we need to, some of us do more than others, but sometimes because we own our own business, that we forget about our inner selves and what our bodies are trying to tell us, and we just wave it off and continue to move forward. And it's the worst damn thing that you can do. Like you said, your mind's not going to be there. You might be making critical wrong decisions. When you feel that, Dan, you got to take off. I don't care who you are out there, how motivated you are, how successful you are. It's not a failure to rest. It's not. It's actually a win when you do that because your body's telling you something that you should be listening to and not wave it off. But that's the way that I feel. But we all felt that in corporate world. I know that, oh, man, I know I have 5 sick days. I can't take off, man. They're going to use it against me, and that's a shame when you have that feeling, when you feel that way against your bosses. It really comes down to management too, Dan, right? The empathy of people, seeing them when they're ill, saying, hey, Bob, you know what? Listen, you look horrible. Why don't you take the day off and go home? How many actually really do that? That really have that empathetic nature to say that when they notice something about their employees and doing what's best for them instead of, hey, I'm looking out for the company. We got to go. So, just
it's interesting. as you're speaking, I'm thinking back to when I first started in this industry, and I mean, for probably a decade, I never took a sick day, no matter how sick I was. And it wasn't because I was worried about what management would think. It was like almost like a calling card where it was like, even if I'm sick, I'm going to show up to
Hmm.
work and I'm going to do my job because you know what, my customers need me, or you know what, hey, like it's just a cold, I can manage it. And it was almost like this status more, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if I'm getting the wording
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
but
I hear you.
um, and I can even remember when I was training dozens of salespeople at a company. Um, I was I would get a call saying, "Oh, I got a slight cough, so I'm staying home today." And I'm like thinking, "A slight cough, and you're staying home? Like, come on!" And it was actually, and as embarrassing as it is, that was my mentality. Like, if you're not literally, if the limb's not falling off, get your arse to work.
I hear you.
We've got to produce. We've got to get it going. And maybe I was that type of boss. Now that you're saying it, and it's funny when you hear somebody else talk about it, it kind of puts things into perspective for you. But I've always been of the belief, you know, I got to be really, really ill or really sick prior to probably 8 months ago,
Mhm.
in order to take 10 minutes off. Because it was like, and even with my kids growing up, it's like, come on, you got a little sniffle and you're not going to school. But it was like, but the body does need to rest. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure some of those sniffles weren't real sniffles,
Right.
because they did want to go, you know, like, let's be honest, right? We all did that when mom, I
Really
don't
good.
feel well. Oh, well, you better
Yep.
rest. And dad's at the door going, you're such a bullshitter. You know what I mean? And at least in my
Yep.
household, that's the way it was. But you know, it is the rest and relaxation and the, you know, one thing Andrea said yesterday was preparing for
Yes.
2023. Like you might have 5, maybe 10 leads that you're going to continue to kind of work in December, maybe. But the preparation for 2023.
Okay.
And I'm finding that with our new company, more and more and more is this entire, like, everything I have is
Mhm.
focused on making it the greatest company on the planet. And it's like, and I'm instantly like pulling things in from here, and I've got hundreds of pages already of like different ideas and strategies, and it's like, and it's like it it keeps me up at night in a really good way.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do know I have to learn to shut it off
Yes.
because I do need sleep. And it's like it's this, but it's a different feeling than when
Yes.
I was
Yep.
younger trying to explode my logistics business. Do you know what I mean? It's a different
Oh, yeah.
feeling because I feel the universe and everything is coming together. And then for those of you that aren't spiritual, I'm going to get a little spiritual on you, but it's like everything is just connecting at the exact time it should connect. And I know in my heart of hearts, it's going to be a monster. And it's like, and that's what I try and tell myself at night
That's
when I
exactly
can't sleep because I'm excited, right?
exactly. You know, and I just started laughing because um, this comes to mind. You know, when I was growing up, you gash your finger and your mom would go, "Oh, just put a band-aid on it. You're good. Let's go," you know, or whatever. And nowadays you get a gash in your finger, everybody's rushing to the hospital, they're doing all this other kind of stuff, you know. And I think it's just the mentality of us and how we were brought up. And you hit it right on the nail where your mom was one way and your dad's like, come on, you know. It was just that thing. It's the same like in corporate world on that side because everybody has their goals and objectives as managers, right? You have your own goals and objectives as an employee and how you want to get promoted and what you need to do to be successful.
Some
You
of
know,
them do.
what's
Some of
that?
them do.
Yeah,
Some of them
yeah,
do. Some
that's
of them
good.
just punch a clock and just
Yeah,
do
some
the
of
thing.
them just fill a seat, man, for 8 hours and they're out. You
Yeah.
know, it's 4:59. They're already packing up. You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, and it's those kind of things. But rest is so important, and it's okay, you know, to lock your phone up over the weekend, like tonight when you shut down at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and you're like, It's me time. Everybody needs that me time. That's a win because you're going to re-energize yourself. You're going to start, even though you're backing off, you're still thinking, that, Dan. We're always thinking around the clock, how can we be better? How can we promote our business? How many more clients do I need to reach these goals and objectives for next year, etc. So even though you put your phone down, you're still going to be thinking, but you're going to be kind of in a relaxed mode. Like I said, re-energized for that Monday. Like, I can't wait for Monday, and we're on a Friday. How many people say that? Because we're driven, and that's what gets us to where we need to be. But you have to take that time out, man. You have to. I don't care who you are out there. You may think you're Superman, you're not, or Superwoman, you're not. You're not. It's going to catch up to you one way or another. So.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, it was 24/7, 365, and it's funny because again, that was like a status, right? Oh, I worked all weekend to make sure my customers' stuff went well. And I remember the day I realized, why am I working all weekend? If I just do a little bit better during the week and maybe just cross my T's and dot my I's, maybe I won't have customs issues on the weekend. And
That's
oh
it.
my gosh, maybe I won't need to work on the weekend and the weekend can be for me. I mean, I've taken calls where I've been in the days when I was drinking, I was like 3/4 in the bag, and a client's calling, you're like trying to act sober, trying to get a situation resolved. And I've lost clients because of it. I've screwed things up even more because of it, because it's your weekend. You're out like I was 17 when I started. So I mean, I was like 19 years old. I'm out with the boys. I'm out I'm out partying, and I'm trying to deal with clients that are having issues, clients that are in their 30s and 40s who are like, this is my career, and it's in the hands of, and they had no idea I was a 19-year-old, but it's in the hands
Right.
of this. And I'm not necessarily taking it as serious as they needed me to, you needed me to take it. Right. So that was a big gap in the beginning, but it was a status symbol
It
for
was.
us. And I think the people that have been in the industry as long as we have, I think if you talk to them, most of them will say this was like a status, a point, like, no, man, I'm 24/7, 365. Like I'm always on the clock for my clients. And I am always on the clock for my students. But there's also the setup from in the golden hours that they call it, where you set that up properly, you will have your time on the weekends and evenings. Like when I'm done for the day, this thing stays in the office, and there's very little except with my partners that we're communicating at night. And I typically do that on my laptop after I've had a little bit of downtime. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and my downtime comes at different times. But when do you think that you lose the desire for that status symbol? I think it's a great question.
Yeah,
When did you?
yeah, that is, but I just want to step it back a second, to what you were saying, that 24/7, 365. I had that problem, but the problem I had is that nobody could do it better than myself. And I never delegated stuff that I could have delegated, but chose to keep it in house and push myself to the limit. And I started making some mistakes behind it, and I had some terrific bosses. Listen, I had some bosses that weren't so good, that weren't congruent with the way that I saw things, and vice versa. And then I had some bosses that were just terrific people that mentored, coached me, and made me who I am today. That I hand my whole career to them, because if it wasn't for them and they gave me that direction to do things that they didn't, they didn't show me how to do it. They just led me to the pond, and they didn't force me to drink it. They said, this is where you got to go, figure it out, and that's the way that I've always mentored and coached my people. I wouldn't do it for them, but I'd give them the tools, and I'd give them the goal and objective to reach. Do it yourself, because if you do it yourself, you're going to learn more. You're going to get that knowledge base. You're going to be creative, and you're still going to get to the results and objectives that you need to reach, but they won't be my path. it's going to be yours, and you'll feel so much better about that you get excited and you want to move forward and you want to create bigger and better things. And that's what my bosses did to me, so that's why I said collaboration and having those right mentors that can help you out. And it's knowledge base every single day that you should be learning or talking to mentors, competitors, friends, associates, whoever you want to call them, because it's very important for your career. You may not know it. If you're just starting out right now, you may not know that or believe in it, but trust me, find those people that can deliver the results that you're looking for a career.
You one of the most powerful things you said in that entire statement was tools. There's a big gap in our industry for giving new people that come in the tools, the training to get it done. There's a few people that I speak with that are all over it, and all they do, like Daman, he puts so much time and energy into training new salespeople. And I remember it was like, I walked in, and I still speak to the guy today. He walked over, you remember the old Harris directories of like Tennessee and all that? So he dropped a Harris directory of Tennessee on my desk. He says, if you can't sell in Tennessee, get the fuck out of the business. Like, that was my training. And then the big training was sitting with other sales reps, listening to how they sell. Good strategy to a point, depending on the sales rep you get. Because if you get a sales rep that just is like, shystering, then you learn how to just shyster. And then that was the problem. And I'd love to see what the data says. And speaking of data, did you see that transition?
Oh my God, there we go.
That was slick.
Boom.
And it's a mouthful today. Brother. So here, our lane of the day is Kansas City, Missouri to Chicago. Line haul rate per mile, $1.66. All in with fuel surcharge, $2.31. So that's a decent fuel surcharge on that. Contractor rate is $2.89. So you're going to see that gap from contracted and spot start to narrow over the next couple of months. Year to year, line haul rate per mile change, minus 38 cents. So it dropped 38 cents. Recent rate jump on this lane is as capacity is tight, and the LTR is 9.5 out of Kansas City, possibly indicating increased demand due to rail situation, intermodal rail situation. The current rate is 35 cents higher than the October average. So that's pretty huge, considering it's 35 cents higher, and it's still only $1.66, right? So our weekend review for everyone: dry van rates across the board for average rate was $1.76. Week over week change it's up 6 cents. Year over year, it's down 76 cents across the board in North America. An all-in rate per mile is $2.41. On a reefer, it's 207. Zero change week over week. 94 cents change minus year over year, with an average of 278 per mile. Flatbed is 204. It's up 5 cents week over week, and it's down 53 cents year over year, with an average of 282. One thing that it like just kind of goes, holy crap, to me is you're literally 4 cents more expensive per mile for flatbed. That's a very small margin compared to what it usually would be. So it'd be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks how that gap widens when capacity starts really becoming real loose, less volume, more flatbed freight with lumber and everything starting to kick in. So
we're only 5 weeks out.
That's our lane of the day and weekly recap for y'all. So tools.
Go back to what you were saying, though. You know what? It's about cross training and best practices. When you really think about it, right? If you have a good mentor that shows you the ropes, the best way to do it, not being a shyster or anything like that, but being empathetic, knowing the ropes, where the tools are, how to operate, you would take what you've learned and pass it on, right? It's all about passing on the best practices, just like you do, right? Because you have a goal and objective for all your clients that work with you and trying to reach goals and everything. So you're creating best practices in order for them to reach that level that they need to be, and that's the same thing whether you own your own business as well. If you get a partner or you get associates, you're going to take those best practices that worked for you, kind of share them and help develop them to be the best that they can possibly be, so that could help you to build your business. So that's a lot of that. A lot of companies fail to do the cross training. Training is so important. You just can't drop a newbie in a seat, give them headphones and a phone and say, do it. It's not gonna work, man.
Jeff, most of the people that I speak with, here's the big concern. I train them, they leave, and they make money for somebody else. And I can't even tell you how many conversations I've had with VPs, with owners, where they've been like, yeah, but if I train I said, but if you don't train them, like, why would you'd much rather have trained people at your facility. And the reality is, if you treat your employees right, they're not going to leave. Like if you look at salespeople in general, right, and you look at like the brokerage side, right, there's always companies stealing employees from companies, right? It's just what it is. And it's typically like one or two companies that kind of steal each other's employees, and then there's two over here that steal, and
yeah, and then they spit them out.
But here's the thing. I've always said, are you really taking the ones that are good in climbing? Because as a sales rep, and then again, this is just my opinion, as a sales rep, if I was being treated right, I was generating massive revenues, I had a good book of business, and why would I want to leave? Right? You're doing 20, 30 grand a week. A $10,000, $15,000 signing bonus is not going to entice me to leave. Mm-hmm. But if I have no idea how to run my finances, and I'm doing 20 grand a week and I'm spending 30 grand a week, that $15,000 bonus is going to seem really enticing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like that, but all that's going to happen is that sales rep's going to go to your facility, and then they're going to start doing 20, 30 grand a week. And then another person with a $10,000, $15,000 is going to just take them away. And it's like, I would much rather have 15 trained to the tilt and producers. And if one of them comes to me and says, I want to open my own business, I'm going to be like, God bless you. Go for it. Go do it. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Go for it.
And and I mean, I remember when I had an office in Montreal, and the person that opened the office came to me one day and he says, Dan, I got an offer. And I just said, listen, I got one question. He goes, what? I go, is it better for you and your family? And he said, yes. I said, then do it. He said, well, what about all my customers? I said, what about them? He says, well, are you going to take them? And I said, they're your customers. But he was running my office.
Not too many people do that.
I said, but they're your customers. They're not my customers. I don't even know them. Why would I try and take them? And we ended up closing that office, and it was like a $6 million office. Like, it wasn't like it was, but if it's better for the person and their family, and maybe it was my mindset, and some people might say, Dan, you're absolutely crazy. This is business. But I believe that people, like, it's why Daman and I get along so well. People before profit. And it's like, how do we let people, like he said, it is going to be way better for my family and I, because it's set times. Now, he went from being a business owner to working for somebody, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. That's his choice. He decided to do that. But it was like it was a different time, and that's what he wanted in life, and it was better for him and his family. So why on earth would I ever argue with that? Right? Like, it's crazy. And I remember my business partner at the time was of the same opinion. We were on the same page. He's like, yeah, just shut Montreal down, and we'll just continue to grow another way. Like, it's not a big deal. What are you going to do? Tell the guy no, go after a huge fight for his clients, maybe keep them for a little bit. Now you're in this battle, and you've ruined a relationship and everything over something that a couple of salespeople can get back in 2 years. Like, right. Is it worth it? To me, it's not. To other people watching, other business owners might be like, absolutely not. I'm taking the business. It's mine. But you know what? He was an agent, never paid anyone a salary. It was all commission. He paid the rent. Like, it was all him. I had no reason to take any of his clients. And I don't know. I look at it, and things as you grow and you develop um, your perspective changes as you grow and as you start to see things in a different light. And some people, their perspective never changes, and that's just how they are. You
You
know what
know
I
what's
mean?
funny? You know what's funny, Dan? And I'm just shaking my head, right? So you got a company that's successful. They're all about sales and everything like that, right? And they talk about qualifying your prospects before you make the call. Well, at least some of them do,
Mhm.
right? Well, why don't they use that themselves and qualify the candidates that are coming on board? Because to your point, oh, I don't have the time to train them. I'm going to waste a lot of money training these folks and they'll be out the door. Well, whose fault is that? I mean,
Mhm.
when you really think about it. So dudes, right? If you are qualifying your prospects before you make the call, why don't you do what you say you do and do that with your candidates that are coming up board so you don't have to have that feeling that training is a waste of time, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
There's some top quality guys out there that they don't get treated well. They get thrown in there. Yeah, they know how to sell, but it's the way that they get treated in an organization is whether or not they're going to stay or leave. You want to be successful. Help them, give them the tools.
Mhm.
Answer their questions, make time for them. That's the
Yep.
failure right there. That is absolutely the failure right there. I
Yeah.
don't
Well, I
get it.
mean, I look at when I was training in corporate, like not with my own company. Now it's a bit different now because a salesperson has to spend money, their own money, in order to get my courses and programs.
Sure.
So I'm qualifying them from that point, that you're willing to put, your own skin in the game in order to get it. And that was very important for me, because when I was in corporate training, I watched so many great people walk out the door. And it was like, and I'm coaching them, and they're like, but this isn't what I signed up for. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I was told it would happen sooner. I was told this. And I'm like, no, this is the reality of it. And I'm thinking of one individual in particular. This young man was like, he had it all. He was golden. And I was like, dude, you're just about to break that levee and explode. And he got an offer. There was a bonus assigned to it. He needed the money. He had school debt. He left. And literally within 2 weeks, his business exploded. We actually used it as a case study in the company. I showed the other salespeople how to walk through the clients and grow that business, and we like tripled the business. But in the end, he went to another company. Didn't really work out there because there was no additional training. Now he's in a different field that had training, and he's rocking it because he was a good salesperson. He just needed some mentoring and molding. And by the time I took over the department, he was kind of already on his way out. And I didn't have that opportunity to really develop him. But I mean, I've watched so many great people walk out of our industry where I was like, man, our industry needs this person and needs them bad, because there's customers out there. Like, and here's the thing, as a sales rep, there's customers out there that need what you're offering. There really is. Like, this is not just luck and by chance I get a hold of somebody that needs a cheaper rate. Like, there's customers out there that need the conversation they're going to have with you. Like, I fully believe it.
Yes.
I believe it wholeheartedly that there's people out there that are waiting for us to get a hold of them to help them achieve their goals. Because
Yep.
their boss might say, this is what you need to do, and they have no clue how they're going to get it done. And you're that anchor that's
Yep.
going to help them get it done. And that's my firm belief of this industry. And nobody will ever change that. It's just a matter of putting in the work, staying headstrong, resting when you can, like, rest, so you're coming out fully charged, coming out fully, coherent, and your cognitive portion of everything is not clouded.
Yep.
And rocking it. I think it's I don't know. I just think that our entire industry needs to change that
Hindsight.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, hindsight. Yeah, and I think it's coming. I really think it is. I think the slowdown this year is going to cleanse quite a bit. You already see companies, cutting back and then like letting people go and this and that. And we saw it in, was it 2019? I think it was 2009. No, well, maybe it was 2019. I remember there was a couple of huge brokerages that let a ton of people go.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. I know it was after 18 because 18 was like the 2020, 21, 22 kind of thing. But anyways, that was a lot. That was a big show.
Yeah, I think we covered without saying it wins and lessons. We really did.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, it's cleansing. That's a good word, Dan, because if there's a time that's going to happen, it's right now, over the next couple of months. Mm-hmm. That if you're a newbie getting into the business, if you're headstrong, you want to be successful, you'll stay in it. You'll go through the rough waters and you'll tread the water as much as you possibly can. The ones that just don't have that self-confidence that they really need through the bad times, they'll leave. They're going to walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, it's the ones that are going to find the tools. It's the ones that are going to find the strategy, and it's the ones that are going to find the mentors to cling to attach to that are going to persevere.
Yep. That's it. Right there.
It's our tools that we use that are going to grow.
Yep. Reach out, man. You have to reach out in the trying times and talk to your peers and competitors. Look, we're in this business for a long time, and we're willing to help and share some knowledge. Whatever you want to do with that, that's up to you. But we'll give you some of the tools and where to find this stuff in order to help you move forward. But unless you do that, think of your mentors as prospects. All right. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you have a problem, call out to somebody, even if you haven't spoken to that person ever before. It's just like a prospect. You've never spoken to them. You want to gain some information from them. The same with a mentor. There's plenty of them out there, man. Use the same philosophy. Get on that phone, call somebody, man. We're here to help.
Makes sense. Hey, I don't know where the like and subscribe buttons are because I don't know where you're watching from. If you're on LinkedIn, I think they're right down below, maybe below Jeff, not below me. YouTube, I think they're up in the little corners there. But remember to like and subscribe. If you think that you have a friend or a buddy or somebody that in your coworker that could really use today's lesson, send it to them. Send them the link and be that one to pay it forward. Thank you to our sponsor, Daman from American and Centurion Trucking. You are the man, brother. We will see you guys Monday. Oh yeah, it's hold on, we got chat. Oh, Lisa says yes, and then Rob says good morning, and Lisa says good morning. There we go. We got not very many people on the chat today, so hopefully more people are watching in silence.
Yeah,
have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend, folks. Yep. See you.
Centurion Trucking. Our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start designing your career today.